Hi, Ask an RDC here, and in this video, we're going to go ahead and continue on to episode 3 of Making a Sailor. Once again, I'll link the series down below for this episode. And this one is pretty much just going to be going through Pdays, so P1 through P5. The last video, it was just the night of arrival, which can feel like a very long night because you're just going to be, once again, you're going to be staying up from the morning you wake up to when you ship out to when you arrive, and then all night, and then so you're up about 24 hours now, and now you're getting to meet your RDCs. So we're gonna go ahead and start off now with this division meeting the RDCs.
Sit up straight. Eyes on
So
me.
I went ahead and turned down the volume while they're doing their intro here. But yeah, so when you're pushing, usually it's going to be 3 RDCs. There are times where it's 2. When we were going through COVID, there was 2 RDCs at one time. I've done 2 pushes like that. It's not fun. But yeah, 3 RDCs. And what they're going through now, they're just introducing themselves. You're going to have a lead RDC and then the other 2 RDCs. There's just one that's in charge usually for admin purposes, or anytime they need to contact a division, they'll contact one. But what they're going through right now is RDC Introduction. It's scripted, so this is the part that we as RDCs have to say in the beginning, but it's setting out the standards. It's saying, hey, here's who we are. We expect a lot of you. Pay attention, and you can also just rewatch this video and hear what they say. This is the full scripts, unedited, what they have here in the video. But talking about equality, talking about put in the effort, and we'll put in the effort. If you fail, the team fails. All true statements. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a shock and awe statement, but it's also setting the standards right in the beginning.
During their 8-week training.
Turn your head. It's easy. Say your number.
51,
52, 53. No. As you were.
So yeah, so this is just counting off. It's just a way to make sure that we have, yeah, as RDCs, let's say you're assigned 87 recruits, then you do the count off. If you have 87 recruits, count off to 87, you're good to go. It's just another way to make sure you have them all. And at times you'll see another recruit walking along the line. That's usually the A-Rock, and they'll have the A-Rock walk down the line as just to show, like, hey, it's your turn to say your number as you go through the line, and then report back to the RPOC. All recruits present are accounted for. So you're just making sure it matches up with how many you have, whether you have everyone or you have some at medical and stuff like that. But yeah, they just start off with the basics right in the beginning. Here also it states when division includes male and female recruits, they're split up into hygiene and birthing. So usually what you have is integrated divisions. So as you can see here, it says that these divisions are male and female, so they're integrated divisions, showing here because 229 and 230, right? So that means half the division's male and half the division's female, but obviously they can't be in the same burden for when they take hygiene and everything like that and sleeping at night. But what they do is it's called integrating. So the 3 RDCs for 229 and 3 RDCs for 230 will have to work together a lot. I've definitely had that. It's important for you to have good relation with your we call them brother divs, because you're going to be going through a lot of the same classes together. Like your recruits will just sit in the same classroom and go to the same event, especially if they're integrated. So whenever you're doing anything that requires integration, it's split down the middle. So one half can just go to the other side, and then their half comes over, and now you're integrated, and you have all your recruits, males and females. This was like this for a long time, and they still do it at times. But when I was getting out of being an RDC around 2021, definitely when COVID was happening, we started just having all female divisions and all male divisions, which hasn't happened since the 1990s. So it was really cool. I was really excited that I got to also push one of the first all female divisions in almost 2 decades. But so you might see one or the other when you get there.
Processing days, that's where you're issued all your initial issue, DITY issue. They have their basic medical indoctrination, so they get a series of shots.
So what they're talking about here is, you saw earlier, they're doing the DITY issue or the first issue that you get. So they've been in sweats. You'll be in sweats when you first get there. As an RDC, you'll see them in their sweats, and that's all they have. They have the basic stuff just from the night of arrival. And this video is going to pretty much cover P1 through P5 pretty quickly. It's not really going to separate what each day is. But the next day is usually you start off with medical, and then day 3 or 4 is usually where you get all your uniform items. The rest of them, not all of them. There's later on in training, you'll get your dress uniform items. So you had to go back for second issue is what they call it. But yeah, they'll get their NWUs. They'll get the brown shirts, and that's actually how you can tell what phase in Pdays they are, because the first few days they're going to be in their yellow shirts, and then once they get issued their brown shirts, you have them start wearing their brown shirts, so lets them know they're kind of near the end of Pdays. But yeah, you're going to have to do the DITY issue. It's a pretty slow day. You got to still stay with the recruits. As a recruit, you're going to be extremely tired. It's going to be hard to follow basic instructions. You're still kind of confused of if I tell you to do something as an RDC and you as a recruit, I'm going to expect you to act a certain way. And later on, you'll figure out this is how you're supposed to do it. It just becomes, it's a military movement kind of a thing. But yeah, just going through Pdays here. So looking here, as they're going through the shots and medical screenings during process days help minimize illness among recruits during training. It's also for your military career. It's an immunization. Not everyone grows up with the ability to have full medical coverage through their life. Depending on where you come from, some of them do, but even then, they'll have medical documentation stating what shots they need to get and what they don't. And then for those who have it, they'll be getting all of them. It's not just for boot camp, although you will get what's called the peanut butter shot, and that is to help you with the initial attack that you're going to get from germs, because you're going to be interacting. Even as an RDC, you're going to get sick. Definitely the first few weeks of their first few pushes, because people are coming from all around the world. They're coming in. And everyone carries diseases of some form, and you're just going to be sharing those germs now with germs that you've never met or come into contact with. So yeah, you get the booster as a recruit to help you with that initial part, but also you're getting just normal immunization. Like you see a doctor, you get immunized. You get your booster shots every 10 years, stuff like that. So that's what you're getting here.
We got dental work done, which we just finished today.
It was a long process.
So they're talking about they got dental work done. In Pdays, most of the time you just kind of get a checkup. You will have, as a recruit and also as an RDC, just a heads up, this is going to happen. You're going to have like dental availability day, where that whole day they take majority of your division, and then some of them come back kind of silly because they'll have to get like surgery, or they'll have to like put them under if they have to get a root canal. But this is mostly just a checkup. They won't really do anything unless it's an emergency. They notice there's something really, really bad with their teeth, which I've had before. They said, oh, hey, I got a recruit in Pdays from another division because they're like, no, we need to fix his teeth now. But he got a full new set of teeth, which was great. And the guy graduated too, so he was definitely benefiting a lot from the Navy. But yeah, this is just mostly just a general checkup, but you will have around week 2 or 3 debt availability day, and that's the day where a majority of recruits go out, they come back, and a lot of them are going to be SIQ. Just keep that in mind. That day is not very fun either, because you got to make sure they get there in time. It's very early in the morning, and then they get them back throughout the day. Just make sure your accountability for that one. And as a recruit, you might have to get dental work, which is good. The teeth, you only get one pair of teeth your whole life, so look forward to better healthcare coverage.
And you do it to the best of your ability.
So actually, I just noticed this as well. So this is Chief here, and he's in his dress blues right now. And the reason being is because you're not going to meet your division in your dress blues, but he's doing it because he is probably about to graduate his division that day. So it's really early in the morning, or this is day 2 now, and he just wasn't there on day 1. This is the other division, right? This is he wasn't in the first 3 that you saw, so there might be other division. He might have not been there the first day. He might have been graduating his division. As an RDC, that's going to happen. There's times where it didn't happen to me. I was very lucky, but there's times where I graduated division on Friday and picked up on a Monday, but there's sometimes you pick up on a Friday, and graduation days are on Fridays. So you might graduate a division and then have to run, after you're done, come over to the Pearl Harbor side and start working with your partners, your fellow RDCs, and start pushing again. And he just didn't change that day probably. But yeah, so RDC life can be very stressful at times. Sometimes you don't get a break in between pushes. You normally do. They normally work out in a way that you do get a break. But in this situation, it just didn't work out that way. There wasn't available RDCs. So just keep that in mind when you become an RDC.
We want to give them a shock, and we let them know that, you haven't even started training yet. You haven't even begun to experience exactly what we're about to subject you to.
And then you start teaching them the very basics: how to stand at attention, how to salute, how to do facing movements, left face, right face, about face.
Learning how to fold things, learning how to do things correctly.
I gave you 15 minutes to shave and brush your teeth. We are going on 25 minutes.
So here they're talking about, hey, yeah, your training hasn't really started yet. Yeah, Pdays, once again, it's processing days. It's your basic medical, dental checkup, lots of paperwork. I don't think they show it in here, probably just for privacy reasons, because they are going to be dealing with like their PII information, personal identification information. So you do have training, right? You're not going to be busy the entire time. Pdays, it is a very rough schedule. You do a lot, but you're still going to have downtime. You still have to do all the stenciling, and while you're doing stenciling, you might as well teach them fold and stow, just to get ahead of time. We call it making that money. Just trying to get as much. Every spare moment should be a time to train your recruits. Always is keeping them on their toes, keeping them busy. It helps pass the time for you, helps pass the time for them, helps keep them focused. It's a better morale booster too. But it helps. But yeah, they're not doing full on training yet. They're just now just trying to get the basics done. Left face, right face. Hopefully they did it at MEPS, but they probably didn't do it to the point of what we're going to be doing in boot camp. And just you start hiring or trying out processes as well of people who are going to fill your recruit division or your recruit leadership. So RPOCs, AROCs, you try to figure out who can take charge or can follow orders and have others follow orders. Your starboard watch, so they're going to write watch bells and check deck logs. This is the basics of stuff like that.